Never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Recording. Welcome back, everybody, to Kessel Run Weekly. My name is Cheyenne, and I am joined today by a special guest that you have all met before. Brody, say hi.
Hi.
So Brody is here to do another character chat with us. So if you guys have been tuning in lately, you've listened to some of our character chats where we just take a fan and ask them a few questions about the character, whether those are surface level or deep dives. And even though we have talked to Brody before and had him as a part of our team for a while for streaming and otherwise and being on podcasts, we're going to do his official interview so you guys can get to know him a little bit better. So Brody, when did you first get into Star Wars?
Jeez. It's hard to really date exactly when, but I think it was 2005, if I can even remember that early. I'm 20 now, so that was 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My God. But, my uncle and my mother were both, pretty avid Star Wars fans. My uncle more than my mother. She, believe it or not, is more into Star Trek. But, nothing against that, of course.
Yeah.
Both can be respected in many ways. But, I remember it was my 5th birthday, and my one friend, who was my only buddy at the time, all the rest of the people were just kind of sent invites, but he gave me a lightsaber, Yoda's lightsaber from episode 2.
Nice.
And I was like, cool, what's Star Wars? And then, my mom was like, oh, the time has come. And she, opened up the drawer, took out the dusty original Star Wars original trilogy VHS tapes.
Wow.
And I watched through all of them, and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And then my uncle comes in with Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I was like, there's more! And then that was just really what kicked it off after I saw the prequels.
Nice.
That's when I became, super hardcore, because, I was into stuff Land Before Time and stuff, or Thomas the Tank Engine, and I had a couple toys that I played with, but nothing compared to Star Wars at the time.
Yeah.
Or even till now, I'm a straight-up Stormtrooper. I own the Star Wars toy.
Yeah.
I am the Star Wars toy.
You are the Star Wars toy. Yeah, I honestly, when I was a kid, I didn't even think about the sheer fact of, I had a lot of Barbie, and I had a lot of, Hot Wheels, but I didn't know Star Wars in the toy universe. I just knew that it was something that me and my family watched together, when I was really little, until I got into it. And even then, we were just talking about, I have the Darth Maul, Zippy toy or whatever, but you got it from, Burger King and McDonald's. So that was my only, outlet for Star Wars toys. I never really dove deep into getting all of that stuff. And now that I'm an adult, here I am buying Star Wars toys. Just because.
Still to this day.
Yeah, just because. So
I think the difference between me being exposed to the movies was I was exposed to the toys first.
Mm-hmm.
I had the green Yoda lightsaber that didn't go down all the way, and I just thought that's how they always were. I just thought they were just kind of like a knife that extended into a sword, but no, they were always just straight up swords.
Yep. Yeah.
I have no idea what that toy is now. It probably broke and threw it out at some point.
Yeah, I remember my first was one of those you whip it out and it was red because I love Darth Maul. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
But ever since I saw The Phantom Menace, which at the time was my favorite Star Wars movie, I loved The Phantom Menace. For some reason, that was just really what clicked. Because I guess I did understand it a bit more since it was the start of everything.
True. Yeah.
A New Hope does kind of throw you in with this empire. They took over the galaxy when it just kind of was the blank slate. The Jedi are peacekeepers and they work for these guys.
Yeah.
Simple. But, I'm not like dissing the original trilogy or anything. I still love
No,
both
of course not.
just as much as I do the other. But
yeah, we're all introduced in a different way, and that's why I like to ask that question. So
That's
a
a
lot of my
very good
questions
question.
are either the same as or inspired by questions that Black Series Rebels has asked their guests, because they're fun, they're silly, and some of them are deeper, and it gives you such a good insight into the fandom, and I love that because that's probably one of the scariest parts about becoming a fan into such a big universe, is knowing the fans and how to talk to them and get along with them and have those like deep dive discussions that we're about to have, stuff like that. So these are awesome. These are some of the sillier questions coming up. What is your favorite, or who is your favorite character in all of Star Wars?
all of Star Wars.
All of it.
Jeez, you're really not helping me. Because, like, I have favorites, but they're in categories, like, favorite Jedi, favorite bounty hunter, favorite Sith, favorite smuggler. Like, I can't just have one pinnacle god
Favorite.
character. I need to branch them off, because
Yeah.
it's just unfair.
That's fair. Okay, so who is your favorite Sith?
My favorite Sith, Maul.
Okay,
Maul
and
easily. I feel like he's, other than Vader, he is the most, like, diverse, well-known, well-rounded character.
yeah, no, I agree. And favorite Jedi?
Plo Koon. That might just be, like, a fan favorite. A lot of people say Plo Koon, but that's because, when I first watched the Clone Wars and I saw the Malevolence arc, he was just so cool. That was, like, the first episode I saw when they were in the wreckage of the Venator cruiser.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, whoa, so this Jedi who was in the background, he's like this whole dude. I love this guy.
Yeah.
And I love Plo Koon, and he's just so chill.
He
I can
really
get down
is.
with that. I feel like I could, sit down, have some tea with him, and just have a really good talk.
Yeah, he's got his wits about him. It's nice and reassuring. It's funny because you said that, like, people tend to say Plo Koon. I've only ever heard that now and from our friend on Instagram, Plo Cool. You guys are the only two people that I've ever heard, like, outwardly say that that's your favorite Jedi. Usually I get, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think at one point I did have a conversation with someone that said Shakti. And I was like, that's new.
That was a pretty good Jedi.
Yeah, she's awesome, but she's also another one of those background characters that doesn't ever get recognition, so it's cool to hear
But
that.
in the Clone Wars, she does get, her time to shine.
Yeah.
In, like, The Force Unleashed, although not canon, she had her own boss fight.
Yeah, I did love that. Oh, that was cool. I just finished that book,
in the
like,
Sarlacc.
2 books ago, so.
Oh, yeah, you did the books.
Who is your least favorite Sith?
Least favorite Sith?
Yeah.
I feel that Count Dooku might have, he had a lot of potential, and I do love reading, like, what was the book? Was it just called Count Dooku?
Dooku Lost?
Count Dooku book. Yeah, that one, where it was, like, kind of dove a little bit deeper into him, and I enjoyed that, but it was just kind of out of nowhere, this new Sith Lord. Where did he come from if the Sith were always in hiding? But that kind of, helped explain it. He was a Jedi. He turned to the dark side because, he inherited monies or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
he's like, I am the planet. It's my whole world. And I'm not going to let this down because of some silly Jedi practice. Like,
yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I literally just wrote a blog post about Dooku's falling to the dark side, and I haven't read Dooku Lost, so I only based it off my knowledge from Master and Apprentice. So I'm hoping that people will, like, chime in on the blog or on Instagram and be like, here's what happened with this, so that I can know, because I don't have time to read Dooku Lost right now. I've got literally so many books I'm trying to finish.
I've got, like, a bunch of them right here. Those are just the graphic novels. I've got a whole shelf that I installed 4 of them.
Yeah.
Just for them.
I still haven't even read the Darth Vader comics because I'm trying to finish Master and Apprentice.
I have them right over there. In the middle.
I only have one of the, like, big book, so I'm still missing the rest of them.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of them off of Amazon because I'm not the best. Like, I won't say I'm not the best reader. I just don't really like sitting down and get nitty gritty. But I do like pictures.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm like Gaston, it's like, how can you read this? There aren't even any pictures.
Yeah, that's amazing. What is your favorite lightsaber battle?
Favorite lightsaber battle? Honestly, I don't want to sound too, like, cliche, but the Maul versus Ahsoka fight that happened very recently. I don't know if it was just from the mocap, but something about it just seemed, it was, like, short and sweet. Actually, I want to change that.
Okay.
I want to change that because I thought about it a little bit more. Obi-Wan versus Maul in Star Wars Rebels.
Nice.
I think, although it's not like a lightsaber battle, it was still a fight, quick, but it was still a fight.
Yeah.
And it still was such a beautiful, poetic moment, which I'd like to discuss later in this character analysis, you know.
Absolutely. Mine is Maul, Duel of the Fates. So, and that I feel like is a classic, yeah, and it's always that's such an easy go-to, like, it was so epic, and I'm like, but I love it. That is the reason that I got into Star Wars.
Epic.
Yeah. I'm like, I literally was a small child and was like, yes! So, like...
Yes, exactly. The same exact way. Just seeing that, my eyes were like bulging out of my head, like the end of Indiana Jones when they were looking into the Ark of the Covenant, just, oh, look at this cool thing!
Yeah, exactly.
Only, 14 years later, I actually do get a double-bladed lightsaber in the Black Series.
Really. Can actually have that.
Together.
What keeps you coming back to Star Wars?
I never left.
That's fair.
I guess I would say if there were, it would be just how expansive the story is, because I certainly don't know everything. I know a decent amount. I don't want to toot my own horn and say that I have a big brain.
But toot.
About this Star Wars. But it seems like, every month there's going to be like a new comic series, a new book, a new, even stuff by the fans, something that got me inspired to actually continue working on my, is that a little slinky?
Yeah. He doesn't work anymore. I was trying to use him, but he doesn't work.
So, something that got me going back on working on my Commander Cody kit was I was watching one of the recent videos from Rex and Around, and it was when he was suiting up in Captain Rex, and then him suiting up, or I can't remember if it was him, someone else, but it was Captain Vaughn from the Mandalore, Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah.
So I saw like how that kind of worked together, and I had all the supplies. I was just kind of lazy with it. So I got up, I started working on it, and I made incredible progress so far. I think it might just be done,
Nice.
hopefully by the midway of next month.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, that's definitely it's a challenge that I didn't know I was going to take on when I started going to conventions, was cosplay. And there's a bug. Sorry. So I just didn't ever think that I was gonna be a cosplayer. I thought going and meeting celebrities and buying stuff at booths would be cool enough as it is, and it is for sure. And there are days where I don't go in cosplay, so I can do all of that. But creating getting Kira, I just bought Kira outright, but I had to I had to edit the accessories. I met cool cosplayers that told me how to edit the accessories to fit them better to me, and I've still gotta I'm now leveling it up to 501st CRL so that I can get approved. So it's such an adventure, and it's so cool that can bring you into the universe. So I love that part of it. I can't wait to see Cody when you're done with him.
He's on his way. Right now I'm really just trying to make it a grunt, just a bare bones grunt, just to kind of, get it together, because there aren't a lot of, pictures or videos on how to do little fine details, but I might just ask my friend to 3D print some stuff for me.
Yeah, true.
We'll see how that goes once this whole fun time comes rolling around. But the 501st has really been an incredible experience that I don't think I would be the same person at all without.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only is it, it's Star Wars, we're all just a bunch of nerds with a lot of money and free time. Well, not a lot of money, but
Yeah.
some pocket change, some spare bills lying around, and
Yeah.
a lot of free time. And what really inspired me. Do you mind if I go off a little bit on 501st?
No, go for it.
It was 2011, which was my best Disney trip ever. It was Star Wars weekend. First thing that happened was we were on our local news channel, believe it or not.
Oh, cool.
There was like a little podium, and they were like, "Hey, do you guys want to be on the news?" I have like a video of it and everything, but
That's cool.
I was 11. I was a little 11-year-old. It was on my dad's birthday, believe it or not, but it was gonna be like the 501st parade that they have during the Star Wars weekend.
Yeah.
And they had that whole thing, and just seeing all those characters, and like I waved to them, and they waved back,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just such an incredible experience. And like, I don't want to make it like, and that was my heroic story, but it, like from that moment forward, it kind of inspired me to make people feel the same way that I felt.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt so happy. I didn't have a worry in the world. Everything was amazing,
Yeah.
and I wanted to let other people feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what started my. As soon as I come of age, I'm joining these guys.
Yeah.
So that was always on the back burner, and then in 2017, I was getting a little bit more back into Star Wars. What with like Rogue One coming out, that really started kicking off my love of Star Wars again. So that brought me to the 501st again, looking at Instagram accounts. I followed, Rexing Around, Call Me Snips. I followed a lot of people. And believe it or not, I followed, Grace before I even, knew her. I was following her because she was an awesome Padme.
Yeah.
But, I was just, it was always on the back burner. I liked looking at that stuff. I messaged a few people, just like, oh, where did you get your costume? Just little guy stuff.
Yeah.
Then one day, I was at the mall, and my mom just called me, and I was like, hey, when you come home, just know that the family's out at a barbecue. Just letting you know, if you want to come by, go ahead. And I was like, should I? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. So then I went there, and I noticed one guy had one of the vacation shirts.
Oh, yeah.
For the Jolly Roger detachment for all the TIE pilots. And I was like, I went to the guy hosting the party, and I was like, hey man, is that the 501st? He was like, yeah, I'll bring you right to him. And I was like, so then I talked to him. He goes by Bro. He used to be the commanding officer, the CEO of the Northeast Remnant, my garrison, the New Jersey group. And he was like, yeah, man, here's this, here's that, here's the website, I'll email this to you. I was just giving everything, and I was like,
okay.
2 weeks after that, I purchased my first kit, A New Hope TK.
Wow.
I was 17, I didn't know what I was doing. It was in the fall, I think it was November. So I worked on that over through Christmas, and my birthday's in May. So I had 6 months to do that before I could get approved. And I got it done in about, I think it was March of 2018 I got it done.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had it around, I went to a few events, I don't want to expose the secrets, but they let me go because I still had a costume.
Right.
So I went to a couple events. It was the best feeling, of my life.
I bet. Oh.
Being able to see, not only kids, but adults alike, be like, whoa, Star Wars! And, that's one of those universal things that a lot of people can relate to, and being, a conduit of expressing that kind of relatability, that joy, that, glue, that whole, the force that binds the galaxy together.
Yeah.
I was a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me feel so happy.
That's awesome.
So, and what with recent times, a lot of 501st events have been canceled, which is unfortunate. I haven't really been able to see my buddies, but we still keep in contact on Facebook, whatever. We're still, around. But I'm really starting to miss him, and I really cannot wait to get back to it.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Definitely, for those of you that aren't aware, Brody's Instagram has a lot of his TK pics, so if you're interested in seeing what the 501st lifestyle is like, that's where you can find it.
I haven't, posted a picture in months. I probably should at some point.
Honestly, it's so hard. I've just been reposting a lot because I'm like, I don't feel like getting dressed up and going outside to take a picture for my Instagram feed. Like, who cares?
With the ABCs that give some pictures, used for Tusken Raider.
Yeah, I'm literally just like, I've got to figure out where I can put it. I tried to, when we started doing that, I was like, okay, thought I would have plenty, but I did not.
Yeah, you were just like, I don't want to recycle.
Yep.
It was like, A is for Ahsoka, and then it's like, T is for Tano.
Yeah, I was like, this is the same thing with a different letter. Yeah, it was rough. I had the Tusken Raider picture saved for T, and then I don't even remember what I used for T. But I was like,
I think you skipped 3 days, and it was like
I'm an
T,
idiot.
U, V, and it's
I did.
Tusken Raider, Venator Star Destroyer.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But you know what? I got it done, and now I don't have to do it anymore.
You did it. You did it. Proud of you.
Yeah. The easier one was on the Kessel Run Weekly page. That one was easy because I wanted to shout out other people so that I could just do literally anything. Okay, if you could own any creature, so rideable, pet, decoration. If you could own any creature, what would it be?
No way. I want to keep my friends. You mean a creature, right? Not an alien.
Yes, a creature.
You're talking about creatures like Rancors, Nexu.
Yeah.
Acklay.
Mm-hmm.
What would I keep? That's actually a very good question.
I love that question.
I gotta look around, see if there's anything specific that I've ever related to.
I know.
I guess as a kid, my favorite creature was always the Acklay from Attack of the Clones. Probably because the way it sounded like that.
Yeah.
And it had
it's terrifying.
The cool ass crab claws running out, trying to stab you. It's so cool, and he was green, which was my favorite color at the time. So I was like a cool green scary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that for the first time, and when it goes down into the sand, and the sand kind of goes over the camera and it looks red, I thought Obi-Wan died. I remember being small and being like, what? And being like, that was too easy. Yeah. Yeah, I was upset, and then the camera moved, and I was like,
it was just sand.
Oh.
It was just the red sand of Geonosis.
Yeah.
For a second, you thought it was just, an After Effects
Yep.
splatter of blood.
Yep. Sure did. It was horrendous, but I made it.
God.
Yeah. What color would your lightsaber be?
Green.
Wow, that was so fast. Okay, why?
Well, I've always wanted a green lightsaber when I was a kid, and that point still stands. Hopefully when I go to Galaxy's Edge, I get to get a green crystal, but if not, I would just buy one.
Yeah, true. That's fair. I mean, we all have our color. I always answer red.
Because you're the Sith Lord.
I am. Thank you. I can't wait
She is the Sith Lord.
cosplay as Sith Lord. I'm so excited. Okay.
You should honestly do Saber Guild or something. I feel like you would totally rock it at Saber Guild, your own custom, Sith.
Yeah, I've thought about that. Because I know that Darth Talon is a common Lady Leku Sith that they do, but I don't know if I want to invest in getting some Leku. I mean, I probably will eventually because that's what cosplay is going to do to me. But I feel like I want to be a form of Sith Lord that's not necessarily... Oh, God, I don't know. I do want to do a Darth Maul one, but I also want to do my own.
Have you ever seen that cosplayer that does, a female Darth Maul, and she's super killer at it?
I think so. I think I know who you're talking about.
She looks awesome. Or even you could do your own Night Sister in some way, Night Sister, Asajj Ventress Assassin style.
Yeah. I was going to do a and this is just me being stupid, but also I love the idea of it. But I was gonna do a Night Sister Harley Quinn cross. So like Night Sister outfit in Harley Quinn colors with Harley Quinn like makeup and paint and stuff, but like Night Sister attire. And I was like
the markings.
Yeah.
I like how their markings are a little bit more subtle. While, you know, the Dathomirians, who we'll be talking about, the Zabraks, they have a bit more defined lines.
Yeah, I'm pumped. But that's a much more complicated cosplay that will happen eventually.
Hope so. I want to see it.
Yeah, I've got some planning to do. So let's start simple. For those of you that haven't listened to a character chat yet, this is where we're going to get into the character specifics. Brody, thank you for doing that intro interview. I love just having the audience be able to get to know us as podcasters better. But we'll jump right into Darth Maul. Starting simple, why do you think that Maul wanted to trick people into trusting him rather than being honest? I guess it's not simple, but...
I feel like he really doesn't see other people as, you know, allies, more like tools. Like even how Snoke was like, do you wonder why we keep a rabbit cur on a string like this? Because if sharpened, it could be a good tool or something like that. Like he just saw them as instruments to his master plan. Yeah. And no matter how he got them, that doesn't matter. It was just, he got them, they're part of his plan now, whether they know it or not. That was his way of seeing the cogs in the machine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point. Another kind of simple question, but do you think anything scares Darth Maul?
I think really after he went toe-to-toe with Sidious in Clone Wars, I would say the Sith would really, you know, affect him, because they did leave him behind, they did kill his brother, they did, you know, all that stuff to him. So, I feel like he never really wanted to take on the Sith without help. Mm-hmm. He's always wanted, you know, Ahsoka. He wanted Ezra. He wanted those characters because he knew he couldn't take on the Sith alone. He was afraid of them. So, he needed allies in order to, you know, destroy the Sith.
That's true. That's true, because when I wrote the question, I was thinking about in season 7, those last 4 episodes, about how when he like brings up the plan, you see his fear in his face when he's like,
and he stutters when he says Sidious, like, Sidious.
Yeah, like and I was just like,
he's disgusted by this guy because he literally threw him out of windows, killed his like only blood with it like in front of him.
Yeah.
He really janked him up.
Yeah.
And not to mention he replaced him like,
over and over again.
He didn't even like care.
Yeah.
It was like, this guy's heartless. He's cruel. He's just a warmonger. He's been controlling everything. Mm-hmm. Screw this guy. I hate him, but I'm not gonna fight him alone.
True. Yeah, that was probably one of my biggest things that I noticed in that, because like I have said time and time again, he's my favorite character, and more so now than ever, because we've been given so much content around him that's letting us dive deeper into him, and yet there's still room for more information about him, which is just cool. But speaking of like kind of that relationship to Palpatine, and you know I love a good hypothetical. So do you think that without betrayal that he's faced, would he have still been as vengeful as we see?
In what regard to the betrayal? Do you mean when Sidious attacked him?
Kind of all of it, any of it. So like if none of that had ever happened, if he had, let's say, so I don't know if this is canon or not, so you can jog my memory, but remember when people were saying, it might have been in a comic or a book, that Palpatine like took Maul as a baby?
Mm-hmm. Well, not as a baby, as a very young kid.
Little boy.
He was like 7.
Right. So like he was built up to be this thing via Palpatine, and then Palpatine's turned his back on him, his family, basically. You know, he goes back and he's just, they're all like, here, we're gonna kind of help you, but like we're also doing it for ourselves. And then Palpatine again, continuously. So without Palpatine's betrayal, what do you think would have happened to Maul? How would he have reacted and been as an apprentice, as maybe just even as a Dathomirian? So you kind of have options to pick from. What do you think his life would have been like?
Well, I certainly think if Maul, like, here's a couple, like, theories.
Mm-hmm.
If Maul stayed on Dathomir, never got picked up by Sidious, he probably would take the place of Brother Viscus, who was the, you know, kind of like the wrinkly, older Knight Brother that was like, that allowed Ventress to take Savage. Like, that was him. That was Brother Viscus. But, I feel like he would take the place as, like, head chieftain. He would be the strongest there is. I think even, like, Savage as an apprentice would probably come around because he was, like, the second strongest, all the things considering. But if he, I guess, never lost his legs and never got abandoned in the first place by Palpatine, succeeded with killing Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. Well, he did kill Qui-Gon, but killing Obi-Wan.
Right.
It would just kind of go back to, there were very little witnesses to seeing Maul. The word of the Sith would not go around as much, and they would still stay very hidden. Like, I even think that Maul, after doing that, he might be like, alright, now those witnesses. Now he goes to Padme after, you know, and Captain Panaka after they, like, siege the Neimoidians in the throne room. If he just and said, finally, now the Sith are secret again, and the Trade Federation is back online. True, Anakin would have, you know, be blown up the ship and still be taught, but not by Qui-Gon or Obi-Wan. So Anakin would probably be taught by someone else. Darth Maul would still be the apprentice. Count Dooku might still inherit his riches, but not be tempted to the dark side by Palpatine. So
good point.
There are a lot of benefactors.
Yeah.
And even in some comics, Maul has been shown to be stronger than Dooku. So they might even be more successful, not even need the clones to overthrow. But that plan was already kind of solidified back in a little after Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I wanted to ask the question, because it's such a broad, there's the ability to have broad answers because he faced so many different things at different times. Where if one event had changed, it could have changed everything, or it could have just tweaked his attitude a little bit differently, you know? So after everything Maul went through, now we're like kind of back in the real timeline. After he went through all of that, his loyalty seemed to shift a few times. From himself to Savage to Palpatine to himself. Who do you think he was the most loyal to, and why?
I really think he was most loyal to, don't want to sound pretentious here, but the dark side. He was always attuned to it. He never really gone near the light. True, he was never a vicious animal at all times, like Savage Opress might be. But it was the dark side that kept him alive. It was his thirst for revenge that kept him alive on Lotho Minor. And, you know, just struggling, barely able to get scraps of food just to survive, but just his hatred, his bloodlust, his anger fueled his soul to keep going. And that's kind of always how it's been. Even in Star Wars Rebels, he went to Malachor to like seek knowledge to destroy the Sith. He still, you know, hated them, as well as still plotting revenge for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which he still lingered on to. That's his purpose. It's his life. It's probably one of the only things he genuinely respects, because the dark side has always been with him and has never betrayed him.
Yeah. That's such a good point, because I didn't even, when I was writing the question, didn't even think about that, because I wrote my answer, and I said, like, I think he's loyal to himself, because at the end of the day, no matter who he was fighting for or with, when push came to shove, he was out for Kenobi, because that was his own, like, goal. But The dark side makes a lot of sense. Huh?
He did stick his neck out for, like, Savage a lot of times.
Right, and it's interesting to think about how he cared so much about Savage, and how until Savage, we didn't know that he even had that ability, really. You know? Like, we just thought he was angry. I think he is,
I
but...
think this might even be, like, the longest character analysis is going to go, because it's already been, like, what, some odd minutes?
It's alright. It's okay. I've only got a few more questions, and then we can jump into anything that you want to mention before we're done, so we're almost there. This one might be a redundant question as far as, like, stuff we've already talked about, but I'll ask it anyways. So if I'm correct, there was no real trigger for him to want to test himself against the Jedi. He just always wanted to do that, because he repeats it in the films, in TV, and in the comics. I even flipped through my comic to double check before this. So why do you think his goal was to just test himself against the Jedi? Like, who cares, you know?
Are you referring to when he was like, at last we will reveal ourselves, at last we will have revenge?
Yeah.
Like that kind of scene?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
That was explained in a comic. It was like Star Wars Adventures Darth Maul, where
Okay, cool.
it was Palpatine when Maul was still kind of like a teenager in his like late teens, still an apprentice, was like, why are we here, Master? He went to Malachor, and they saw all the petrified Jedi and Sith alike that were all missed the combat, that were frozen by the Sith temple weapon.
Ooh.
And it was like, Master, why are we here? Why did you bring me here? It's like, because I want you to see what the Jedi have done. So then it was like, relax, meditate, see what happened, like touch like a lightsaber on the ground.
Oh no.
And he saw all of the horrible things that the Jedi did, because it was an assault on the Sith temple, and it was just, they weren't expecting it.
Right.
The Jedi were winning, and in a last-ditch effort, their Sith Lord at the time activated the weapon and just killed so many Jedi as well as Sith.
Dang.
There was no other choice. Those Sith would have been eradicated.
Yeah.
And the Jedi would have stood. So they thought, let the Jedi stand, let the Jedi fall.
Yeah.
Because we just don't want them out there.
Yeah.
This was a self-sacrifice.
That's crazy.
So then Maul was like, why would they do this? Why would this happen? And it's like because the Jedi are corrupt. They have a skewed vision on peace and justice. And it's like then we must have revenge.
That's so cool that you know that.
That was his motivation to saying, at last we will have our revenge. Our revenge. You and me, we're Sith. They really disrespected us. Like, imagine someone, great-great-grandfather got, hurt by this other great-great-grandfather, so you duke it out with their great-great-grandkids.
Yeah, basically.
That's their motivation.
That's it. Okay,
But
that's
it's
good to
that
know. Yeah, I didn't know any of that.
Grandchildren know exactly the same exact thing that the great-grandparents did.
Of course.
So it's kind of like they're the same thing. The Jedi have always been following the same path. They're gonna do it again. So let's get our revenge. Got
it. Good to know. See, we learn new things every day. That was always my question. I was always like, why is he so mad at the Jedi? Like, what's the point? That makes so much more sense.
He saw them, like the Battle of Malachor.
Being rude.
And it was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
They did this.
It's so funny, the two sides of each coin. Get up. Yeah, oh my god. So this one's these two are kind of more, I don't want to say upbeat, but less about his anger and more about, like, his story. So he's teamed up with a lot of people. We've seen him team up with people in Rebels. We've seen him kind of team up with Ahsoka, on and off, really. Teamed up with Asajj, and even with Cad Bane and Aurra Sing in their little band of people. What was your favorite team-up?
Favorite team-up? I would probably say I really enjoyed the assault on Mandalore with Death Watch and the Pikes and the Black Sun. I thought that was really interesting in how Death Watch was just kind of like, thanks for helping us, but skedaddle, but they still, Maul was like, I challenge you to combat, and still became ruler of Mandalore, which eventually went down in the history books. was.
Yeah.
Because the Siege of Mandalore did.
So he was with it.
Everyone knew that Maul was the ruler.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's like Mandalorian literature is far and few between. You know?
True. Yeah. Yeah, that when I was thinking about like just his life in general, his team ups have always been my favorite parts of his story. Like just seeing him in Rebels was a revelation in and of itself, but him, and that's what led me to think about like the way that he manipulates people into being on his side rather than just being honest with them. And it's like, I mean, he does that all the time. And for
especially to young, impressionable, blue-haired kids.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a good guy, Kanan. I promise he's not gonna blind you.
Oh my gosh. What was I watching the other day? That I was watching She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, and Taylor Gray voices the young king in that show, and he said something that sounded just like he sounds like Ezra because he is, but like the fluctuation in his voice, and I was like, what? It took me a minute. Yeah. Yeah, I like astral projected. And I was like, oh, okay. It's so funny. Yeah. Okay, kind of another like fun one, a big theory one that I just love. We don't know much of anything about his rule of Crimson Dawn. We just know that he, with Dryden Voss no longer a like pipeline version of a leader, it's now just going to be him and Kira. Technically. We've only seen him form the Shadow Collective, and only really briefly in the knowledge of him gathering all of them together. So what do you think is next for Maul? You can just go wild.
Well, there are a few benefactors, because we know pretty much every chapter of Maul's life, except between the Solo and the end of Clone Wars. Because in the end of Clone Wars, during the Martez sisters arc, and that's just what I call it. I don't know what else to call it. The Black Syndicate arc.
No, it's a good one. A good title for
when
it.
they saw the Martez sisters arc, when Ahsoka was just sneaking through, placing all the bombs, she heard Maul, didn't really know that it was him, and he was like, I hope you don't, I hope you don't interfere with the plans of Crimson Dawn, or something like that, and he, Crimson Dawn existed at that time. What was it?
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't just, the Shadow Collective, just, turned into that,
right?
What could it have been? And even in, I think it was episode 2 of the Siege of Mandalore arc, we got to see Dryden Voss in one of the holograms. He's like, I just told all of the crime syndicates to go underground. So they're underground. So perhaps Crimson Dawn already existed. And it might have been, claimed by Maul, being like, hey, I'll be your new leader, or something like that, the same route that, he did with the Pikes and with the Black Sun. In some regard, look, I'm a Sith, I've got a lot of power, I've got a big plan.
Yeah.
Let me be part of Crimson Dawn with you. So, really, he might just be the secret puppet master, it might just be a puppet boss, I'm the leader of Black Sun. It's I'm the leader of the Pikes, but really, it's Maul who controls everything. He's the one behind the string. He's the one pulling the strings on this operation.
He learned from the best, being Palpatine's apprentice.
Exactly. So he's got that from him. So I think Crimson Dawn is just one of the crime factions that he owns, and then with Kira. And how I think she's going to be the new puppet leader of Crimson Dawn. I feel like that's kind of obvious. It's like, you and I are going to be working much more closely.
So spooky.
So spooky, and it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
What are we doing next?
It's like, meet me on Dathomir and we'll talk about the traitor Beckett. Just how spiteful he sounded, Beckett. Hate that guy.
Yeah.
But I do like how Kira did not mention Han at all, so he'd be scot-free.
Yeah.
So
I need to mini rant for a second. Somebody the other day was like, Kira didn't have to do my man Han like that. And I was like, excuse me? I was like, I'm sorry. I wish people that were listening could see my hand gestures. I was like, hold on. She saved his
Very
life
sassy.
so
Very
many
sassy.
times. She saved his life. She loved him. She protected him. She also whooped his butt. And she
Absolutely.
let him get away to safety. And you want to tell
Totally
me
scot-free from
that-
Darth Maul's
Yeah,
wrath.
from
Well,
Darth
sent
Maul.
dark side.
that was the ultimate protection? You can't just be running from Maul and think you're going to get away with it.
That's the last person that you want to be on the run from.
Yeah.
Darth Maul.
So, anybody that's got a problem with Kira can slide into my DMs and we'll have a discussion.
Kira is a great character. I think she really looked out for Han. This is becoming a character analysis on Kira.
I know.
So,
I can't wait to have that.
Corellia with the, what were they called? Bog rats or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The Octobogdos.
Octob-
So I think
I
Kira
hate Ogdo.
is now the new Dryden Voss,
Yeah.
and Maul is still in control of the Pike, the Black Sun, the this, the that.
Yes. Yeah, he's the big boss. No, I agree.
There was
entirely.
actually a story. I might be remembering it wrong, so if anyone wants to like fact check me, forgive me. But it was like Maul's first Jedi kill. It was a Jedi Padawan, and she was kidnapped, and she was going to be sold to one of the crime syndicates.
Yeah, that's in
But
my
then-
my comic. It's in the comic.
Yeah, she got, picked out by someone. Maul killed that guy, and then, he wanted to kill the Padawan, and so he did. So he already kind of knew something about crime syndicates long before he even created the Shadow Collective.
Yeah.
So
true.
that might have, in some way, inspired him
Mhm.
to really put through with his plan to siege Mandalore, to get revenge, to rule the galaxy. I don't even think he wanted to rule the galaxy. I think
Yeah,
he
I
just
don't
wanted revenge.
Yeah, that was my
And
biggest
being a
thing
pimp
about him.
while he's at it.
And also being amazing. Yeah.
Just being like I'm rich, I'm famous, I know all of the spice, I own all of it. It
Yeah.
is mine.
Yeah. I think just like not even the power of like the galaxy. He just wanted to like be a contender, He just wanted to be
Yeah,
like,
he
look
wanted
at
to
my
be,
power
like-
that I have.
He wanted to be in the galaxy. He wanted his footprint to be pressed into the cement of
Yeah.
the path of the galaxy, which it certainly has.
Yeah, I was
He
going to
did
say,
his
it
job.
sure is now. All right, do you have any last-minute thoughts on Darth Maul before we close out the discussion?
Alright, I have like a couple offhand.
Bring it on.
So, I remember there was the Son of Dathomir, which are the comics, which are the only comics that are Dark Horse that are canon.
Yes.
And I think they straight up say that Maul is the son of Mother Talzin, like, born through blood, and that Savage is really his brother. But that, like, provokes the question. Maul said that he had a real name in Rebels, and he was like, I had a real name once, but it's been long forgotten. Now they call me Maul.
You're so right.
Is his last name Oppress? Is Mother
Didn't
Talzin? Is Talzin a first name?
Didn't they give him the name Savage Opress? Like,
No. Savage Opress was his name. Because
Oh,
at work,
you're
nothing was
right.
happening at work, so I just decided to watch the whole episode on Disney Plus.
Nice.
But he was talking to his brother Ferry, and it was like, Ferry, do you think we'll make it out of this? And it's like, trust me, Savage. I've got this. So his name was always Savage,
right.
but I think his last name was probably Oppress.
That's
like, I feel like his
fair.
name always was. I don't think Oppress is, a title.
yeah.
Swords are an inherited name, like Skywalker.
Yeah. That's so interesting to think about. I don't know. I've never even thought about that fact.
Because Maul did say he had a real name, and now they call him Maul.
Yeah.
He wasn't always just Maul.
Yeah.
And it's like Count Dooku's Sith name is Darth Tyrannus, but his name isn't Tyrannus.
Yeah.
So is Darth Maul just Darth Maul? They just call him Maul now, formerly formerly Darth, now just Maul.
Yeah.
From Rebels.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. I don't know, and I want to know what his real name is. What if his name's like Mike?
Greg.
Greg Opress.
Greg Opress.
I want to know.
Greg Opress.
Hi, Greg.
Will Greg Opress please? I was like, okay, taking attendance. Greg, present. He's just like a big Poindexter.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Oh my god. Could you imagine? Yeah, I want to know what his real name is. Oh.
I think we should really yell at Dave Filoni for that one.
Yeah,
Since,
I need to
We're
know.
all best friends with Dave Filoni.
Yeah, we'll just send him a quick email.
Yeah, quick email like, hello, Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
This is the group, Kessel Run Weekly, and we were wondering if we could get the inside scoop on Darth Maul's real name, because you, as per your writing, you have alluded that he has a real name, and now he's just Maul.
What is it? Tell us. Oh
And if he doesn't have a current name, let us suggest one.
Gregory.
Gregory Opress.
Yeah.
Fully
Could you
go to
imagine?
Dathomir High.
Oh my
Another
god.
question, or I guess another query I have is, in Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars, to show off his metal legs, Darth Maul, or not Darth Maul, Maul, just wears shorts. How many Star Wars characters actually wear shorts? Or at least, like, knee-high pants? Like, how many? And for some reason, my brain went to Niku from Resistance.
But doesn't he wear a
He
jumpsuit?
had a jumpsuit. He had a
Yeah.
jumpsuit. For some reason, I saw him as, like, wearing, like, a old-timey swimsuit-looking thing, like, short
I mean, he
jumpsuit
totally
shorts.
would. He totally would. I love
would.
Niku.
I feel like Niku would be that character to be like, hello!
Yeah.
Like, my new garments? And then it's just like, you get to see his knees and his elbows,
Yeah.
and he's like, I think it's rather breezy or something like that. That would be Niku.
That's so funny. It's so true. Oh, man. I don't know. There's gotta be somebody else.
Shorts.
Let's think. Insert Jeopardy music here. That's such a good question.
I'm trying to think, because, like, everyone just wears formal pants. In Star Wars.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking this up, too. I'm going to
We're
go on my
Googling.
phone.
Who?
Going to Google Star Wars characters that wear shorts. I typed in shirts.
All of them. Oh my god, pink shorts boom guy popped up on mine. Oh man, if you guys are listening and you don't know who pink shorts boom guy is, please Google.
Pay your respects.
Yeah.
It's only, oh my god, it's only, like, showing products of, like, shorts with Star Wars prints on it.
That's funny that we got different results though.
Yeah, exactly. Maz Kanata doesn't, does she? No.
No. She wears like oak coveralls or something.
Yeah.
Does Jason Syndulla?
Jason Syndulla wore shorts?
I don't know. Does he? Let's find out. Images. I don't think we get a full picture of him.
Clothing. I'm on the Star Wars fandom Wikipedia page for clothing.
Nice.
Not helping. Because everyone either wears, like, pants or robes or, like, I don't know, slave Leia suits. It's like, there's no shorts in the Star Wars universe.
Y'all, what is this?
Maul's. Only Darth Maul is the only Star Wars character that wears shorts, and if anyone can find any instance of someone, wait.
This is a revelation.
Bosk.
And Zeb, technically.
Technically Zeb.
Because
they go down to his, like, digigrade legs.
Bosk wears shorts? Let's look.
Well,
Oh!
it's like a jumpsuit, but his
capris.
ankles are exposed.
Yeah. Like capris. Capri Bosk.
Yeah, they're like capris. What if How do you like my capris? I got them at, what was the place? Suncoast.
I guess that's it, isn't it?
I'm a coupon hunter.
Wow.
What about that fat Trandoshan that stole R2-D2?
I don't even remember that guy's name.
I think he wore shorts.
Probably.
I think Trandoshans just need their ankles to breathe, because every time I think of Trandoshan, they're wearing shorts, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Trandoshan short wearing.
But you know what? That works. Yeah, a lot of the art that they have, they're wearing shorts.
Alright, Trandoshans are the short wearers in the Star Wars universe.
Blessed be. Oh my goodness, there's this one. It honestly looks more like an Argonian, but it has like these striped pants. What's up with that?
Oh, weird.
It looks like an
I
Argonian.
love it.
Right? There aren't enough stripes in Star Wars. There need to be more stripes.
There needs to be like a Beetlejuice character in Star Wars.
Absolutely. We need like definitely a Beetlejuice, but like all the official art that shows Trandoshans, they have shorts.
Alright, Trandoshans
really
are
need those calves to breathe.
summary.
In summary, Trandoshans and Darth Maul,
Wear
both very,
shorts.
they have horns and stuff. Both wear shorts.
They need their
Do you
legs to
think
breathe.
horns equal
Shorts?
Because they both have O-R. I think we just cracked the Star Wars code. We can do anything now.
Horns and
We both get
shorts.
like simultaneous emails from Lucasfilm, and it's like, you need to delete this podcast
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, it's like
Have the same exact
the
spelling.
audio that's like, FBI!
So,
Wow, that's so funny.
any other questions I might ask about Maul is, what would you say is your favorite thing that he did as, like, in an action, whether swift or thorough, like, what do you think was his favorite just thing that he has done within the Star Wars universe? Because he's pulled a lot of crazy stunts.
He's done
not just
crazy
flips.
stuff. I'll be honest with you, I think I like to keep it, like, classic. What I saw in Phantom Menace and what I saw in his fight with Ahsoka, there's this move, and I'm sure Ray Park knows the official name of it because he does it. He's the one that did it. It's where he, like, leaps and, like, half turns and then jabs down. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
I
my
love that move, too.
favorite move. It's so clean and so quick. And he does it like 3 times in the fight with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes! Nice!
I like when he does the little kicks, the little midair kicks.
Yeah.
When he's like lunging at Ahsoka.
Yeah.
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 He does that 3 times as well, where he has the little like kick out, kick in, kick out, kick in.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it.
I
I'm
mean,
fascinated by it.
I mean, like an orchestrated event, not just his martial arts. Like when he did this. Like, oh, I loved it when he did this. What was your favorite moment when he did something?
This is gonna take me a minute. Do you already have yours? While I think about it.
I do.
Okay,
And it's very recent.
take it away.
It was during the Siege of Mandalore arc when Darth Maul, or I keep saying Darth Maul, he destroyed the hyperdrive. That was a very, like, star killer moment for me.
Yeah.
Like, and also the hallway scene. The hallway scene, something about Darksiders and hallways, they always coincide really, really well.
They do great in
Darth
hallways.
Vader had his, Maul had, like, ripped the panels off and just went, like holding him out, like, not even holding him out like Iron Man. He was holding him out just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Walking on through, slice, let me take your arm, got
Yeah.
that, let me slide on this comlink, and then he just destroys him up in hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Just, like,
Yeah,
and how
just
it knocks
so
over, takes out the bridge.
Swiftly.
He really is one of the strongest force wielders.
Yeah.
There are some really crazy cats out there.
Yeah, he's awesome. I think that one of my favorite ones, and this might be cliche, I mean, if people have ever thought about this before, but in Rebels, in the Twilight of the Apprentice arc, Not the, like, because obviously, like, I'm sure he didn't know that Ezra was going to come in there. Maybe he did. But I think orchestrating the separation of them,
Yeah.
because I feel like he definitely knew that that was going to happen. Like, when Kanan and Ahsoka showed up, he was like, all right, how can I twist this around? And so he, I feel like, had the plan to fight Kanan the whole time.
I think Maul went there with knowing that someone would come there to help him.
Right.
Whether that was Ezra or not, he had no,
Yeah.
like, I will be visited by Ezra Bridger.
Yeah.
It was like someone will help me
Mm-hmm.
when I go to Malachor.
Yeah.
So I will. And, you know, Malachor is where he got his bloodlust for the Jedi, but now he's going there to find a way to destroy the Sith.
Yeah.
The Jedi are already gone. He got
Yeah.
his wishes. And he also had foreseen, like, you know, the clones performing Order 66. He predicted, you know, the fall of the Jedi was very near. So the way the Force might talk to him is vague. Like, he might just sleep one day and just like, oh yeah, by the way, the time of the Jedi is really close to ending. Just so you know, so if you want to work on that, and it's like, I know this now. So, perhaps he did the same thing. He was sleeping, it's like, hey, some little scrawny blue-haired dude's gonna come over to Malachor and help you out if you go there real fast. Like, I must go to Malachor. So I can destroy the Sith.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that no matter what the Force is telling him and how in tuned with it he is, I think that he always has, like, small steps that end up being bigger ones. So I think the fight with him orchestrating that fight with Kanan in his mind is probably one of my favorite parts. Simply because then that escalates his story and Kanan's story.
Yeah,
And I love
like,
that. Propels
whether
it.
you know it or not, Maul is such an important character to everything. Like,
So much.
even
So many things.
even like Han Solo. Han Solo probably wouldn't be around if Kira ratted him out.
Yeah.
Back to that Kira conversation, you know, we're talking about how we wouldn't have Han Solo if he was still, you know, under the guise of, or like under the surveillance of Crimson Dawn. He'd still be running from that.
Yeah,
Like, not only
exactly.
would he have the Hutts to worry about,
Yeah.
which Darth Maul probably also has, like, you know, a foot in. He's probably, you know, got some contacts with Jabba.
Oh, definitely.
But I think one of his most iconic moments is when he goes to the little Hutt planet to see the Hutt Council. It's like, tell me where Jabba is. And it's like, oh no, whatever Hutt he is. Like,
Yeah.
So you're telling me that I will find Jabba in Jabba's palace? Really? It's like that Simpsons meme. That Simpsons meme where it's like the guy with, it's like, huh, how silly of me. How could I never notice? Like,
Yeah. Literally.
honestly.
Yeah, he's an awesome character. I've said it time and time again. He's one of the best, one of my favorites. He not only propels things in the story, but Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm as a whole, taking Maul and opening his story up, is one of the best things they could have ever done for the universe. So I'm so thankful. Yeah. So thankful for that.
Not only was he, like, blowing your mind in Phantom Menace when that first came out, but knowing that there's more of him, it wasn't just then and done. Because when I was a kid, I loved Darth Maul, but that was the only thing of Darth Maul that I could see at the time. I was like, I want to see more of him. Just like, he's just like, the Master will have revenge, and then, you know, kills, I sounded more like Qui-Gon there, but he kills Qui-Gon, gets cut in half, falls down the chute, thought he was dead. Thought he was dead forever. But then I hear the story running through the rumor mill, like, Darth Maul's back, his brother finds him, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And can we just take one moment to appreciate Spider Maul?
Spider Maul is incredible. He's insane, but he's incredible.
Like, literally insane.
Yeah.
I just love how it looks like it was something at first, but now it's just a spool of wires and metal shards that shake and shudder.
God, it's even spooky describing it. So I don't think my roommates have seen that arc before, and I can't wait to show it to them, because
Oh, yes.
I think just like the thought process behind Maul surviving is very like surface level for like the average fan, the general audience fan. Because they're just like, well, he's here now, like, cool, I'm just gonna watch what happens, you know? Which is fair entirely.
Like the revenge, he's like, revenge, that's the only thing that's keeping me going.
Yeah.
I get revenge.
Yeah, they have no idea how insane he is.
He quite literally has gone completely insane.
Yeah.
You know, like the
That's so...
far above. Like, always remember, I am fear. Always remember, I am nothing. Just,
God.
you know, totally.
You doing that is like your impression is awesome, and it gave me the thought process behind Sam Witwer doing that for the first time. Like,
take a moment for that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
He's incredible.
God, I love him. Have you ever seen the video of him screaming Kenobi?
I think so.
There was like a
Yeah.
featurette on IGN when he was like, Kenobi, like going nuts, and you just see his entire face, like every vein in his skull. It's so crazy.
Yeah. The amount of passion that he feels for like everything that he's nerdy about, and the way that he pushes it into into his work is incredible. And I started watching a show called Being Human on BBC when I was younger. And younger, I mean, that was like a few years ago. It wasn't that long ago. But that was where I first saw him. And I thought, oh, this is like a fun show. This is cool. He's good. Like, I wonder what else he's in. And so I started like looking into it. And then I found like Clone Wars and all these other things. And I just started going down like a Sam Witwer spiral. But his...
Did you know Sam Witwer before you really got into Star Wars, or?
I think so. Like, Being Human was my only experience of him before Star Wars. Like, because at that time, I think I was still in high school when I watched Being Human with my mom. It might have been like early college, but my mom introduced me to the show. And I was just fascinated by the show in general, and I like went down a rabbit hole of searching all the actors and stuff because that's what I do. So that was my first interaction as far as seeing him before Star Wars, and then Star Wars hit me, and I was just like, "This is amazing." I told him that when I met him.
I love that he's played only like dark side characters, because he's played Galen Merrick, the Star Killer, which by the way, the part in like when I think it's in the second one, and it's like it was like Vader, and it's like, your feelings are not real, like you are just a clone. It's like, your feelings for her are not real. And he's like, they are real to me.
Yeah.
Like, just how brutal that sounded.
Yeah.
The first time I heard that, I got the chills up and down my spine. I was just like, oh, this guy is intense.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love
And
it.
then he plays the brother of Mortis, you know,
Yeah.
the embodiment of the dark side. And I wonder, since Ahsoka has Morai, you know, and Morai has become, she was, you know, it's confirmed that she was the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
What has the brother become, if anything?
Yeah,
Or
I feel
perhaps-
like maybe that's part of the reason that things get out of balance. Maybe he doesn't become anything.
He just is around.
Yeah, like maybe because you know when because people tend to, and this is actually an episode topic I want to talk to the team about, but like there's often the mention of like bring balance to the Force, bring balance to this and that, and it's like Palpatine definitely made the Force unbalanced, or made the story unbalanced simply because he was so powerful and honestly so insane. Like, I feel like his ideas were not Force based. He just manipulated the Force, and the Force was like,
Yeah,
I
it
hate
was just
this.
a tool.
Don't. Yeah.
It was just like, oh, I've got this, I may as well use it as well.
Right, and I think that Sidious is what made the Force unbalanced, but I do think that there's always some semblance of darkness to create balance, because that's literally what it means. It means that there's equal parts on either side, and Rey could be that simply because she's a Palpatine, so she probably could use dark Force-ness stuff and balance herself out to bring balance to the Force. Because, you know, like, that's what Anakin says to her when she's trying to get up. It's like, bring balance like I did, or whatever. And so I always think about stuff like that, and I wonder if the son just doesn't have a, what's the word, reincarnation form.
Yeah, well, I'd say consider the Force is balance. Mm-hmm. Like even Snoke said, like, darkness rises with light to meet it.
True.
So that's how it's always been.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi, they were starting to become corrupt. They were starting to, the Jedi Order as itself was becoming more of a militia than it was keepers of the peace. Mm-hmm. So then the dark side overcame that. Mm-hmm. Now the dark side is everywhere. Mm-hmm. So then came the return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker destroyed them. There was balance. Mm-hmm. But then Luke started training a whole new group of Jedi. Mm-hmm. And just like that, the First Order swoops in, mm-hmm. and that's the new dark side.
Yeah.
The light side and the dark side aren't good and evil. Mm-hmm. They are just the energies and the wavelengths that require balance, or else chaos will spread across the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And perhaps Rey may be this balance, because she may be a Skywalker now, mm-hmm. but is she exactly a Jedi now?
Right.
She has a new lightsaber color, so I don't know if that means red is bad, blue is good. Mm-hmm. It's yellow. Mm-hmm. What does that mean, even?
Yeah.
It's more like, look at this, it is new. It isn't a Jedi, it isn't a Sith. She's mm-hmm. balanced.
Yeah.
So now, a new First Order won't come, a new Jedi Order won't come and attack.
She's just in tune with the Force, and
she's in tune with the Force. She
making
even
sure
used
the
the
Force is
lightning.
benefiting.
She knows that she is Palpatine in
mm-hmm.
a way. She is a Palpatine. So she probably has that balance in her as well. She's had those times where she has gone to aggression. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really like the piece de resistance of Star Wars.
Yeah,
Rey
exactly.
Is the final balance. There will still be chaos in the galaxy. There will mm-hmm. still be conflicts. There will still be war.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be another dark side overwhelming the light side overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like, there isn't going to be that war again.
Yeah,
involving the dark and the light.
I agree. Okay, well, honestly, what a better way to end the podcast, just like talking about the Force and all of its magics and everything. I love it.
Beautiful. Honestly, like, I personally believe that the Force is something that exists.
Yeah, George Lucas's brain is also chef's kiss. Yeah. Like,
beautiful man.
Beautiful. Yeah, exactly. We will get rolling on some of those other topics too that I've wanted to pursue as far as main channel episodes. So I'll be talking to the team about that, and Brody, if we can get you back on, we will.
I love discussing about the theoretical, how the inner workings of Star Wars. I think it's just something that inspires me to even seek forward and more interest, because talking even about how the brother doesn't have a form, but the sister does. What does that mean? Is it because she gave her life to Ahsoka, so she's always near her in some form? Is it because
Ahsoka is very similar to Rey, and she has a good balance, internal balance, so the sister was I'm sticking with her?
And I think one topic that I think would need discussing, I don't know if this is going to be a to be continued, so I'm not going to say it for certain, but where's Ezra?
Yeah, we should do another episode, or an episode on that.
I think we need to do an episode about Ezra.
That's entirely fair.
That should be our next character that you and I should do, Ezra.
Okay.
I loved Rebels. Absolutely loved it. I didn't hate it at the beginning like a lot of people did.
Yeah. I didn't either.
It through and through.
It's interesting that you want to, because I'll tell you what, Ezra is probably one of my least favorite characters.
Really?
Yeah, so it would be interesting for us to talk about him.
He wouldn't be my favorite, but I think he would be the most interesting.
He is
when
interesting.
It comes to the Rebels cast.
Yeah.
And again, it could kind of be we didn't talk as much about Savage Opress in this one, but we still mentioned, a couple theories involving other characters. Maybe we could somehow spread the Ghost crew in there somehow. How their stories might intertwine.
It's funny you say that, because Grace is messaging me and talking about Jedi Fallen Order and doing it kind of like that, so doing mini character chats in a Jedi Fallen Order episode. So I think it'll be good. We'll definitely see what happens, and for our listeners, if you have suggestions on character chats you want to hear, right now that's kind of not necessarily the easiest way, but like it's such a fun, entertaining way for us to bide the time that we have right now. Simply because we now have like a lot of Star Wars content to go through and a lot of time, but at the same time, no time at all still. I'm probably starting my master's soon, so that's going to be interesting, and we all just have different schedules still. So kind of similar situations as when the real world is working for all of us here. So I appreciate our listeners' loyalty to everything. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Kessel Run Weekly on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also actually are trying to be more active in our Facebook group. It is called Kessel Crew on Facebook. If you need an invite, reach out to us on Instagram if you can't find it for whatever reason. Brody, do you want to tell the people where they can find you?
They can find me on Twitter at TK50015. That's my Stormtrooper ID. And then they can also find me on Instagram, TK50015. No spaces or nothing, all lowercase. And for like my personal account that's got, all my pictures and stuff, they can follow at THE_BORBY. I almost forgot how to spell it. The Borby.
Nice. Other than that, thank you everybody for listening and spending some time with us. I hope you enjoyed this character chat about Darth Maul. All right, ready?
I'm super ready. Let's go. Okay, this is my big shot. Here we go.
May the Force be with you.
Always. Can I do it again?